GoodBuy, the show where we tell you about a thing and whether or not you should actually buy that thing. Today, that thing is Baldur's Gate 3. Based on the core structure of the tabletop game Dungeons & Dragons, Baldur's Gate 3 is possibly the most anticipated CRPG of the last decade, if not longer, and it's finally out there for people to play. You've probably already seen people hyping up this game since it landed on early access back in 2020, a hype that has only grown since the full release of the game. Still, even when you see everyone and their dog talking about Baldur's Gate 3, you may wonder if it's everything it's cracked up to be, and if it's the game for you. Maybe you're unfamiliar with the first two games in the series, or perhaps you're worried about just how colossal the game seems. The question is, should you buy it and give it a go? We're going to go through the cost, length, and overall range of opinions on this game, so you can make a more informed decision and see if you're going to spend a lot of time Balduring those gates. Or whatever it is you do here. Baldur's Gate 3 is a beast of a game, and many of our editorial team have been absolutely stuck into it, all playing in different ways and offering varying takes on what it offers. Features lead Jade King expressed that Baldur's Gate 3 is a game where every decision actually matters, highlighting some of the core aspects of the game, those aspects being the story and the choices you make. Baldur's Gate 3 is packed full of player-determined choices, from the earliest decision to create a custom character or opt for one of the pre-made ones, to the massive, arc-altering narrative choices. Even just the constant minuscule decisions such as how you approach the different NPCs in the game. As Jade mentions, you will stumble into little stories everywhere, all of which feel equally noteworthy. She says, "Anything is possible, and everything I do has consequences, with Baldur's Gate 3 making it abundantly clear at every opportunity. No decision feels insignificant. No matter what you're doing or where you're going, you must make choices. They may initially seem small, but you will see the ripple effects before long, throughout your entire playthrough. There are characters you may try to approach with kindness, only to end up in a bloodbath, and there are fights you can avoid entirely as long as you choose to say the right things at the right time. There is a widespread appreciation for how Baldur's Gate 3 merges gameplay mechanics with its storytelling, with each step off the main path leading to new, exciting side content that you may have never seen if you hadn't chosen to explore at that exact moment in time. Games boasting the Choices Matter banner are not uncommon, and plenty do it and are true to an extent, but not all of them can completely follow through in the same capacity as Baldur's Gate 3. This game doesn't mess around and present you with a mere illusion of choice. Instead, it makes every single action feel meaningful and lends depth to your playstyle. No matter how insignificant, Jade expresses, every choice has aftershocks that will impact you and your party. So, as we've established, this game is big. Anyone who has played the early access version can tell you that Baldur's Gate 3 is chock full of content. Even its first act, the slow burn and methodical tutorial, and the only part that was available in the early access period, can run you upwards of 30 hours. The full version of the game easily triples that, with the average playthrough likely to take between 80 and 100 hours. That's not even fully considering the amount of things there are to explore, the number of NPCs to meet, and the plethora of side quests to indulge in. With all of that in mind, a completionist will probably see close to a good 200 hours with the game. And then, as if that's not enough, there's the 6 origin characters to choose from, each offering a different perspective on the game's events. There's also the different companions you can choose to bring along in your party, all of which will have their own stories, personalities, and general dynamics with your whole team. The replayability of this behemoth title is almost endless, and RPG fans will have no shortage of opportunities. There are so many choices to make, people to romance, and classes to play around with and build up. Baldur's Gate 3 launched fully on PC in August of 2023, and on PlayStation 5 in September. It's also slated for release on Xbox Series X and S, but some technical limitations have pushed this version back, potentially until 2024. The standard game will cost you around $70, with the deluxe edition costing around $80, offering some extra cosmetic items. You can also purchase those same cosmetic items for $10 separately at any time, or receive them free if you had played the early access version of the game. There's also a collector's edition of the game, which comes with the digital cosmetics, a cool box, a Mind Flayer statue, stickers, origin character sheets, an oversized D20, 3 Magic the Gathering Battle for Baldur's Gate booster packs, a Tadpole keyring, an art book, and a cloth map. It will cost you around $270, which is a lot, especially considering it comes with a code for the game and not a physical version. But there's a lot on offer here. So, put aside those thoughts of prices and costs and just how much time you'll be spending exploring and battling and probably romancing, just what are people actually saying about the game? Ryan Bamsey says it's absolutely worth your time. I've played a lot of CRPGs in my time and Baldur's Gate 3 feels like an instant classic. The writing is great, the combat system is engaging, and it simply doesn't feel like a chore to play, despite promising a frankly ridiculous runtime. I don't know whether I'd recommend it to just anyone, as the mechanics are complex, especially if you're not coming from a D&D background, but those who will like it will really, really like it. Brandon Lizardi says it's a must-try for tabletop fans. Baldur's Gate 3 managed to capture the freedom and diversity found in the traditional pen and paper format of Dungeons & Dragons. Trick ogres into working for you, argue with a strange ox, tease a vampire, it's all there. It's best enjoyed by those already familiar with the D&D 5th edition system, since that's what it's heavily based on, so anyone unfamiliar may find some of the mechanics complex or overwhelming. Regardless, if you're a fan of classic high fantasy experiences with a tremendously impressive level of freedom for problem solving, then this is your game. And Keitha Sims-Corva says it's worth every second. I've played Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3 more than a few times during its early access run, yet the full release feels like a whole new game. There are different story beats, more character interaction, and so much freedom to go and do what you want. The amount of player agency is almost ridiculous. It can feel a little overwhelming at first, but there's a joy in the learning curve. In a year full of stellar games, Baldur's Gate shines bright. So, with all of that said and done, should you buy Baldur's Gate 3? The likelihood is, if you have any general interest in playing the game, then you will absolutely enjoy it. Whether you're a fan of D&D or not, have played the previous games in the series, or even if this is your first time playing an RPG like this, it's a game that will absolutely draw you in and gives you plenty of time and freedom to learn the systems it offers and get up to speed with everything that it is. And even if you make mistakes, those mistakes are part of the game. Most things you do will come down to a roll of the dice, so no matter your knowledge or familiarity, it could go very wrong very easily. With so many classes to pick from, so many ways you can involve yourself with the world, and so many chances to think outside the box and really find that D&D moment that clicks where you think, wait, what if I tried doing this? It's a fantastic experience that will resonate with you in the same way that it has with so many, but also in a way that is entirely unique to your own experience. Could it potentially be a little daunting or complex to really enjoy? Sure, if you feel like the amount of menus, stats, and pure freedom could be a bit too much for you and make you feel overwhelmed, then it might very well be a bar that will be difficult to overcome. However, it's a bar that can be overcome if you spend the time with it. And if you've seen the game and how it plays and think that's something you really want to try, then you 100% should give it a chance.